Can you still make money online in 2025? Or will AI cause the greatest income gap in history?
AI is taking jobs at an alarming pace here on Wall Street, as you can see by the scores of people leaving with their belongings.
I was making $150K a year online. Now it's gone.
I was making over $1 million a year with SEO online. Now I make nothing. AI took over my entire industry.
Global Gen AI content market size is expected to reach $80.12 billion by 2030.
There's a dark trend happening online. The rise of low-effort junk AI content has skyrocketed. With SEO content, video content, fake influencers, and more, how does someone like you get ahead and actually make money online in this new digital AI world? Well, today, that's what we're going to talk about. We're going to take a look at the cold, hard facts of what's going on. Because yes, I believe there is one of the biggest wealth income gaps ever recorded on its way right now. And for those paying close attention, there's also hidden money gaps where people like you and me can get rich. However, many influencers aren't talking about this. And as many of you guys know, this channel here is in the make money niche. And every day I come in here, think about video ideas, work hard to record good stuff to teach you real ways to make money online. However, lately, I've been logging in and seeing stuff like this. Countless, regurgitated, low effort, low value content created with AI. So while this is the easiest time in history to create content and make money, it's also one of the most competitive, because anyone using AI can create anything right now. So how do you stand out from the crowd? What does the future hold for creators, content makers, and those who just want to make money online? That's what today's training is all about. I'm going to walk you through the changes. We're going to look to industry experts, see what they're saying. We're going to look at the data, show you what's working and what's not working. And I'm going to show you the truth about what it takes to make money online in the age of AI. Come on, let's go to work. All right, everyone, welcome back to the show. Today what we're going to do is we're going to talk about the updates that are going on in the world of AI, how it regulates with making money, where the opportunities are, and everything like that. This was all started by a quote that I read by Tom Bilyeu, I hope I said his name right, where he said that in 2 years, roughly 90% of content posted daily on the internet will be AI generated. Now, I think that's coming a lot sooner than we might believe. I'm seeing a rise of AI content with video just taking over YouTube. I mean, I would say that at least 1 out of every 3, maybe even 1 out of every 2 videos that I'm served from the algorithm is showing an AI-generated type thing. Whether it's slideshows or completely AI-driven, it is getting out of hand. Now, also, we saw this happen with Google a couple years ago where AI came out and Google was just littered with AI content. Some of it didn't even make sense. A lot of it was just there to trick the algorithm so that people can make money. So what we're going to do here is talk about how this works. And I want this to be interactive. I want to get your thoughts. So let me know how you feel about this as a comment below and in the chat box so that we understand, okay, do you like this? Do you not like this? Do you want more AI content? Are you tired of seeing humans talk? What is it that you actually want? Now, what we have to look at here is what's actually happening, what's actually going on. Because if we can predict what's going on and see a trend, then we can get into that trend and actually make money. That's what this is about, is finding the opportunity. And I believe that there is going to be one of the biggest opportunities ever, but a lot of people are going to miss it because they're just going to watch it happen. They're going to watch the AI take over, and they're not going to be involved in any way. There are companies that are going to pop up. There are individuals that are going to pop up that are going to make a ton of money off of this, because what's going to happen is you're going to have a crash of one thing, and whenever people have a crash of something, they get an opportunity bigger than ever, because there's nothing more motivating than having something and losing it. That is the biggest motivator, right? If you're like, hey, you can go get a nicer house, most people won't go get that, but if they lose it, they are more motivated to get that back. We're going to see that with the creator economy. We're going to see that with the video economy and all of these influencers and stuff like that. A quote by Mark Zuckerberg, and we're going to go through several of these and talk about how they work. Very, very important. Ginny says, I have to do a thumbs down to the unedited, low-quality videos lately. I never thumbs down recently I have been because of the AI videos. I agree. I think it's getting out of hand. Now, we've seen a lot of trends because basically anyone with a camera, anyone with an AI has been able to create content. Now, that doesn't mean it's going to be good content. Just the other day, I was on a plane and I was watching, there was a family ahead of me. They had like 5 kids. Every kid had a tablet and they were all watching brain rot YouTube content. And I'm like, okay, is this good? Is that a good thing? Well, maybe, maybe not. We have to look at that. In my opinion, I would say that that is not a good thing. It is fostering no connection. It's fostering just garbage and really no benefit at all. One of the things Mark Zuckerberg said is the goal is to get to a place where businesses can come to us and say, my goal is to find X number of customers for this product at this price, and our system can just go do that for them. We are seeing that basically Mark Zuckerberg, I think at this point, is one of the scariest entrepreneurs with AI, because it seems like, to me, there is no regard for human impact at all. Basically, it's like, okay, if I can make an AI that keeps everyone glued to it and advertisers pay me, then who really cares what happens to the people as long as I get a check? That's kind of a scary place to go, and we're seeing that that's where he is saying he wants to go with advertising. Now, where does this have to do with you? Well, if he does this with advertising, then we're going to see shifts in ad revenue. We're going to see shifts in creator revenue, how much you make on AdSense, and the whole 9 yards. Now, in addition to this, I want you to remember that Mark Zuckerberg's vision of AI exists within the Facebook confines. So it's kind of like its own little ecosystem. Outside of that ecosystem, it's not really there. There are other things he does outside of it, but it's mostly within that ecosystem that this would exist. Now, some other news that we're seeing here is a lot about what is going on, right? Sam Altman thinks AI is going to have a novel year. A lot of companies are getting into lawsuits and all kinds of crazy stuff around AI. What does this mean for us? Another one here says that the most consequential for marketers is the rollout of Google's AI mode. Now, we've seen Google AI mode come out. It came out with a bang. It's all over the place. It is diminishing how many clicks certain sites get. So while it is easier to make money, it is easier to get traffic now, we are seeing, okay, well, that traffic might not be here anymore. What is going to happen? We also see with the YouTube algorithm, there's a lot of AI content going up, which diminishes. Like, there's only so many people that are watching content. If half of what they're watching is AI content, then where does that leave the other people? Again, this is both dark and scary, but also a big opportunity for those willing to see it. We're going to get to that in just a minute. We are also seeing here, I wanted to show you some metrics. This is the metrics of AI content generation, which is pretty interesting. We're seeing here we have global Gen AI content market size expected to be, this was in 2024, it was about 14 billion, and by 2030, we're seeing that this is going to be closer to 80 billion. A lot of money in this market. Where is it going to go? Now, I believe that the way things are set up right now, we have to look at this and say, okay, unfortunately, it is going to the bigger companies, the Googles, the Facebook, and all of that, but there is a gap. Whenever you see a gap, what happens here is there are gigantic companies. And tell me if you guys resonate with this, right? Maybe you have a cell phone and you call because there's an error on your bill and you get a bunch of AI, you get a bunch of junk. You get people who really don't care. They don't want to answer the phone. They are just there to tell you tough luck. We really don't care. And that's what's happening is you have big companies which leave gaps, okay? And when you can spot these gaps, we're going to show you where the money is made in these gaps. Very important, because if you can predict this trend, this is a $1 trillion game changer. There's a $1 trillion marketing change. Very important. Now, going through here, we're also seeing that Mark Zuckerberg wants to do the AI-powered metaverse, which again is more of the same, more AI content. We are seeing Facebook is inundated with AI content literally everywhere. It's really hard to tell what is real and what isn't real. Some of it's pretty obvious. I think 2 years ago it was pretty obvious. Now it's less obvious. So starting to understand that and see exactly what's going on is key. Now, we are seeing a redefinition of the category of advertising. Why is this important? Because advertising is where we get paid. If you want to make money online and you're not paying attention to advertising, you're not really set up to make money online. You're just guessing and playing, because where the money comes from is going to be advertising. Whether it's advertising your own products, your own service, affiliate products, affiliate services, or whether you're tapping into something like YouTube revenue or maybe even AdSense revenue on websites and things like that, Taboola, all these other places, it's all driven on advertising, which is super, super important. Now, we are also seeing there's a huge trend in investing in AI content. A lot of people are investing in this. Why? Because this is the way of the future. There is a change happening now where companies can go in. I think there's a quote we have here where they said for every dollar they invest in AI content, they're getting $3.70 on the back end. How important would it be to actually learn, okay, how do they get that? Because if I could go to a machine and put $1 in and get $3.70 out, I'm probably going to go to that machine every day, all day, until the machine stops giving me money. That is important, and that is where this is at. If you can understand what these companies are doing or what these companies need, right? What kind of things do they need? They're using AI to do what? Is it to make fun viral videos? Is it to make content for Google? Is it to get ranked in the search engines? Is it to make content people interact with on social media? What is it that they are doing? Very important. We also see there is a declining reach for bloggers and macro influencers. What does this mean? This means that AI is taking some of the reach. Why? AI can do things faster. Doesn't have to come in here, doesn't have to get ready, doesn't have to make a video. You literally type something, video is generated right then, right there. Now, while this is a huge opportunity to make money, we have to understand it's also a huge opportunity for everyone. So where you might have countries that maybe live on $500 a month versus the United States where you need, $1 billion a minute, apparently, right? We're seeing, okay, there are countries out there that are willing to do bare minimum content all day, every day, so they can make money. And for them, making $500 or whatever is not that big a deal. But when you have millions of them out there doing that, it crowds the ecosystem. And now you have anyone and everyone speaking any language, doing anything anywhere on the world can make content for the countries that make the most ad revenue. Understanding this is key, because if we see this shift, I'm going to get into how this shift will make you money. And if you guys dig this, smash the like button, let me know. Very important to go through. Look at the authenticity dilemma. What we're going to see here is people are going to gravitate towards authenticity. I have found that lately, with the fatigue of AI content, with the fatigue of no-face videos, and all of this stuff out there, which a lot of it is more or less junk. Like, a lot of people don't put time into what they're building. Now, a lot of people do, and those are the ones that are going to win and rise to the top. Even using AI, that will still happen. You can still use AI and make a good product, which we'll get into in just a minute. Now, also looking at the impact on creator income. Most creators that were talked to in this study said that their income and their reach declined by like 42% or more, which is pretty crazy. We're also seeing that 57% of creators reported that the rates had remained the same or went down. Now, starting to look at this and see where the trends are going is key. If you can predict trends, like in the stock market, if you knew what something was going to do, you'd invest in it and you'd make a lot of money. Now, that may or may not be the case here, but we have to look at it and say, do we know certain trends that are going on? Do we know certain things that are happening? Well, we can keep our eye on the news and say, okay, what are people investing in? What's happening? Right here, we are seeing news sites are getting crushed by Google's new AI tools. Why? Why is that happening? Okay, we saw this happen before where news sites were all up in arms and everyone was scared. They were like, okay, you know, we're the Wall Street Journal, and if everyone can read stuff online free and they don't get a newspaper on their doorstep, how are we going to make money because the advertisers are what pays us? Or if people are watching video news online or AI news or something like that, how are we going to get paid? And these news companies were freaking out and they were like, what's going on? Now, there were some companies at that time who understood where the trend was going. They were like, okay, these people are going online to get news. There is monetization online. Here's how to get it. Those companies got insanely rich, and some news companies actually went out of business. We're seeing the same thing here where it says Google AI tools are eating up organic search traffic for media sites. These are huge sites that are $100 million, billion-dollar companies that get lots and lots of traffic, and they're now losing their traffic overnight. Also, a report by Seeking Alpha said, how are publishers preparing for a clickless search reality? Think about this for a minute. I've been doing SEO, I've been doing content marketing for over 25 years. What would happen if Google was one and done? You go there, you search, it gives you an answer, you don't go to a website, that's the end of it. What if there were no websites listed on Google? What would that look like? How would people find content? And what would they engage with? Now, do I think this is a reality? I do not. I think people will still want to research. I think search will change. I think clicks will still be there. It just depends on where it's going to go. Where we see, okay, for the first time ever, Google's market share is declining. Now, we do see something very important, which you've been following my channel for a while. You see me talk about this a lot. What we have seen is big companies like Google, Anthropic, other AI companies, even Microsoft, and another one that starts with an A, came out with browsers. So they're like, wait a minute, we think people want browsers with AI. Now, this is something that happened early on. Google started in 2000, or they started in 1997, I think it was, or 96. And what happened was they started getting in on the search game. They had their search engine. People were going there and searching. They were making money. Along the way, they said, well, what if instead of people using Microsoft Edge, they used Google Chrome? This is part of the monopoly lawsuit that happened. However, it doesn't seem like any repercussions happened. They just have a lawsuit. It doesn't do much with it. It doesn't seem like they're changing their monopolistic ways. However, Google Chrome, why would someone at Google say, let's make our own browser? Interesting, because if we can understand that, then we can understand where the money shift's going. And for those of you paying attention, yes, my videos have been way more boring than they used to be. And the reason is because I want to teach you stuff that actually works so you get that aha moment so that you can actually build a business based on what's going on. This is a time unlike any other in history where anyone can do this, but to survive, you're going to need to be able to do something different. That's what this is about. So why would they get browsers? Okay? Put your answer in the chat box and in the comments if you're watching this as well. Now, why would that be a big deal? I mean, we look at, here I'm in Microsoft Edge, I think it's still called, or something like that. Why would they want to do that? Now, Melissa says, how would Google make money without ads? Well, good question. I think they're going to have ads. It's just not going to be free traffic as per what people think. Now, there are going to be some shift ups, and it is going to be a little bit different. But starting to look at this and say, okay, why would they have a browser? Well, a browser is control. If you control the visitor, you win. Years ago, I read a report, and I think they're still doing it. Again, why I think Facebook is one of the creepier companies dealing with AI. There's certain people I'm like, yeah, maybe keep it away from that company. And that's my own personal opinion. But they had, Facebook went out there and it looked altruistic. I remember watching the news report and it was like Facebook is giving cell phones to underdeveloped countries. People who can't afford cell phones, they're just giving them to them. Yeah, but there was one catch. In order to use your phone, it only had a Facebook app. So like the way you use the internet was through Facebook. Like there was no go to the internet and search. It was go to Facebook and look at what we want to show you. Why would he do that? Why would they give away all of these phones to these countries? Because they want control. They want the control. The person who controls the audience wins. Why are people up in arms about Google's AI right now? Because Google controls 90% plus of the search market and a huge portion of the entire internet as a whole. Like, Google is a monopoly. I don't care what you say about whatever, they are a monopoly on the internet. If Google went away, that would change things. Now, whether you like it or not is one different side of a coin, right? Like, okay, do I want to have a different account for YouTube and Google and all this? Probably not. But is it a little scary having all this power to one company? Absolutely. Now, what can we learn from this? This is about what we can learn, because if you can learn from this, then you can make money. Because what happens is, again, you have gaps. You have gaps in the market that are being underserved or not served that we can use in a very specific way to make money. Now, looking at that Seeking Alpha one, they were talking about how publishers were preparing for a clickless search reality. What does that look like? Now, right now, we're seeing that the clickless searches are not that big. Like, right now, 8 million people still search Google. I have a brand new site I set up. If you're not watching my videos, watch these videos. I set this site up with AI, actually used Manus AI to set it up. Ahrefs is a little behind, but all of those articles were picked up. They are ranking. It is actually getting traffic. So what we need to do is very important. In the age of AI, there is one word you need to pay attention to. And that word, a lot of people aren't going to like it, because this is a very important thing. And this is where, what's our camera doing? Apparently it's zooming in. But this is where everything is going to shift. If you get this, all right, why is our camera being weird? There we go. No, zoom out. Let's see here. All right, so that one word is focus. All right? What we used to be able to do, 2000, 2005, even today, even a year ago, you could go out there, you could put a bunch of junk content up, rank on Google for some stuff, and make some money. We see this all the time. We see people that get de-indexed by Google, people who lose their rankings, all of that stuff. And what we're noticing is something very, very specific. What does Google want? They want good user experience. That's what they want. Okay? So if we can focus, and instead of saying, I'm going to make 1,000 pieces of content or 1,000,000 pieces of content with AI, throw them out there and see what sticks, what if I could do one thing really, really, really well? This is what I call majoring in the minors. We'll write this down. Major in minors. A lot of people out there, they're like, okay, I want to get all of this stuff going on, okay? Well, what if we focus on one thing specifically? Major in the minor niches. Find something small. If you're going into mortgages, maybe you can find something very, very specific. Make that work really, really well. Do it really, really well. Focus on it. Use AI to go to the ends of the earth with that one, right? If you're going to do it really good. We'll talk about this more in just a minute. Now, going through here, we are seeing that a lot of publishers are saying, hey, the traffic is going away. What do we do? Well, again, like I said, people who lost money are more motivated to get it back than people who have no money, right? You see it all the time. Like, guy loses it, he'll go do whatever. That's where, you get a lot of people who start like cons and things like that because they had a lifestyle, they lost it, they want to get that back, and they'll do whatever means, including stuff that might not be that good. Now, we've also seen there's a 77% increase in content volume after implementing AI writing software. This means companies out there, Colgate, Pepsi, any company, health companies, they are having a 77% increase in content volume after implementing AI, meaning the amount of content on the internet is going up astronomically. Now, a lot of people think, okay, Google's going to be just an answer engine. Well, yes and no. They might have an answer engine as part of what they're doing, but I think it's going to go deeper than that. Also, we mentioned the return on investment, where they're saying every dollar invested in generative AI. This is important. Think about this for a minute, because a lot of people come to me and they're like, you know, Marcus, these AI tools are getting pretty expensive. They're getting kind of out of hand. If I was to get Manus for $199 a month, and I just found out it doesn't, like the VO3 is not even included. You have to get Enterprise for that. But at any rate, $199 a month. So what these companies are saying is that for the $199, okay, they are getting an average of $3.70 for every dollar, which would mean $199, I think it's roughly $800 or something like that. And that is for every little bit invested. So the question is, how can I do that? How many of you guys, if you could learn to take Manus and say, okay, instead of paying $200 or $20, like say you have ChatGPT, instead of paying $20 for ChatGPT, how many of you guys would be like, well, my ChatGPT makes me, what would that be, $74? Something like that? How many of you guys would be like, okay, that makes sense? Tara says she can't afford to type Manus. Well, think about it this way. All of these should be investments for a purpose. This is where focus comes in. Okay, a lot of people are looking at tactics, ideas, and little strategies rather than the entire plan as a whole. We need to look at what the purpose is we are trying to accomplish. Very important, because if you don't get this, you are forever going to struggle. This is where info overload comes from, people not understanding what's going on. Now, if I could make Manus make me more money, like right now I'm doing a test. If you guys want to see this video, let me know. I'm doing a test right now to see if I could 10x my Manus amount. So if I could go in and buy Manus for $199, and I come away with, what would that be, about $1,200? All right, how many of you guys would like to see that video? Where it's like, okay, if I can turn that into profit and show everyone how to do it, now we're talking. This is what we need to do. We need to start thinking like business people. We need to start predicting what's going to happen. We need to start looking at, why am I using this tool? Because up until now, like, people look at AI and it's like, okay, that's cute. I can make little donkey videos and ape videos and all of this other stuff, and it's cute and it's fun, and I might get $14 in ad revenue, right? You see it all the time. People are talking about, make a Bible video and you're going to get rich. Make a history video, you're going to get rich. Make of all this. And that is what is contributing to AI slop. It's just AI slop out there, brain rot content, whatever. Now, if I could go out there and say, okay, AI is no longer just a cute little tool that'll make something, like all these people making a picture of themselves in a box, right? It's like, oh, hey, I'm the superhero on the shelf, or whatever it is, okay? Starting to look at that and say, okay, wait a minute. What would that look like if instead of using this just for my own entertainment? Because let's face it, if you're not using AI to make money, you are using it for your entertainment, right? I don't care if you're writing 100 articles a day. If it's not making money, you're just entertaining yourself with the idea that one day you might make money, not really with a plan. What we have to do is we have to look at it and say, focus, plan. What is it going to look like? What am I going to do on a day-to-day basis? I got this subscription to Manus. I got this subscription to Gemini, Claude, Bolt, ChatGPT, or whatever else it is. What is it I'm doing to use that to put money in my pocket? What is it I'm going to do with these to get something out there for a goal? Not just for more content, but for focus content. I want it to be where I am taking 1 hour of my time and I'm trading that for the highest amount possible by doing the thing that makes me the most money. This is what a lot of people don't look at, right? Because what we're trained in jobs to do busy work, okay? There's a principle in business I read about a couple months ago, and it was interesting to me. And it said, usually what will happen is if you give an employee 8 hours a day to do something, they will take out 8 hours to do it. If you give that same employee 2 hours to do it, magically they'll start doing it in 2 hours, unless it's something like, you know, build a skyscraper. I'm talking busy work type stuff. What happens is the amount of time expands with the job, right? So you give them the job, it expands to meet the available time. So if you give them a month to do something, it'll take them a month. Whether it's an actual month task or not is irrelevant. And it's not to say that the people are being lazy or taking advantage. It's just what happens. It happens all the time. Now, when we look at this, we need to say to ourselves, how does this manifest in my business? How is this manifesting in my business? Am I taking all of this time to do work that doesn't produce a result? As an entrepreneur, we have to look at it and say, how can I use AI right now to get the most out of my time? Very big. We have to look at that and say, what are we going to do? The return on investment can be considerable. A lot of companies are saying that for every dollar invested in generative AI, organizations are reporting $3.70 in return. Now, looking at some other things here, you're going to see that stuff is changing. Here, Meta is announcing a $15 billion investment to achieve super intelligence. All right, companies are investing in this. Why? What is the purpose? Do they just want a smart computer brain, or is there a purpose behind it? What we need to do is we need to look at the Wizard of Oz behind the curtain and see what he's up to. We need to understand exactly what's going on. Anthony says it's called Parkinson's Law. I believe I read that somewhere. Thanks for that, Anthony. And starting to look at this and say, okay, well, what about this here, where people are now becoming obsessed with ChatGPT and spiraling into delusions? Now we're seeing people using AI are actually going through and getting information that is changing the way they think about things. We're also seeing here, if I can get it to refresh, AI company wants to take your job, and all different things here. We saw last week the CEO of Fiverr saying, hey guys, you need to either figure out how to make your income or you're going to be out of work. Okay. Also looking here, how are we going to navigate the new content ecosystem? Content is changing. Content marketing is changing. While you can get rankings fast, while you can get engagement fast, what is it going to look like in the future? What are you going to build? Now, there's two things you can do. You can do a flash in the pan, quick money grab, where you go out there, make a bunch of content with AI, make money while the sun shines. Or you can build something long term. Either way is cool. I've done both. I've made millions in markets that were just super quick, right? So starting to look at that, we need to understand, okay, where is this going? What is it looking like? How can I take advantage of both? And how can I pivot one into the other? Because sometimes you can do a flash in the pan that will build an audience. This comes into why is Google coming out with browsers with AI? Why are these companies making browsers with AI? I mean, if you look at Google, every time I open Chrome, it's like, hey, use the AI browser. Start using this thing. Why? Because it is capturing your attention. It's keeping you there. Much like how Zuckerberg wants to have a phone that just has Facebook on it, right? I think he'd be fine if we just taped Facebook to our head and walked around all day. But looking at that, why do they want that? How can we do that on a lower scale? And how can we add the human element in there? Whether you want to be on camera or not, doesn't matter. You can have a human element to AI. Now, looking at this, AI efficiency versus human creativity, trust, and performance. I think that right now, trust in content is probably at an all-time low. The amount of people who trust what people say online has gone down astronomically. I think as a whole as well. I think with the whole fake news movement, if you want to call it something like that, I think that started a trend where it's like, okay, we really don't trust anything online, and even on news and things like that. Starting to look at this, what are we going to do to stand out? So first of all, one, I need to focus, okay? Two, I need to learn what makes people trust something. Whether it's AI or not, what is it that makes people trust it? Why do we trust ChatGPT and talk to about crazy things? Well, maybe because people are trusting AI a little bit more. Starting to understand these changes is very, very important. Now, going through also looking at the creation speed, right? Going through and saying, okay, if we create content with humans, how long does it take? If we do it with people, how long does it take? Now, again, there is a huge opportunity. I'm going to talk to you about opportunity one right now. If you're taking notes, op one. Opportunity number one is going to be, if Google is going to, let me see if I can spell correctly. Here we go. There we go. If Google is going to zero click, okay, which I don't think it is, but will some go to zero click? 100%. Like some of the terms are already going there. They're obvious terms. We've talked about them here on the channel if you've been following me for a while. But if that goes to zero click, do you know what's going to happen to plumbers, realtors, all these local businesses that rely on Google for traffic? That's going to change. If you understand how to use AI to get that traffic, you win. There's a lot of money at stake. This business marketing on Google is a $1 trillion ecosystem. Google makes something like $250 billion a year just off search ad revenue. Now, when we go in and say, okay, well, what's going to happen when this changes, and what does that equal? Because if Google gets $10 for a click, the guy comes here and does his quote and charges me $7,000 for water mold remediation. Okay, that click on Google that originated, that didn't cost Google anything. Google didn't pay anything. They just built a brand recognition. Now the click is worth $10. They got $10 for basically something that exists in nowhere land, internet land, and that turned into a $7,000 sale. If we can understand that ecosystem in a different way, and we can understand how these things graduate. All right, you got a guy on Google sitting there at the Google home screen. Here's our guy. We'll give him a nice hairdo, right? He's sitting there on the Google home screen. He's like, I don't know what I want. He is literally worth nothing, okay? His click is worth nothing, all right? Once he searches in here and says something like plumber near me, okay? Now that instantly takes it from nothing to a $10 click. Why? Why would that take him to a $10 click? Why would a plumber pay $10? Well, because they're generating a lead. And they know for every $10 they spend, they get, I don't know, maybe a tenth of a lead. So it costs them $100 for a lead. So if I could skip and just give them a lead, then I could get $100. This is CPA marketing as its basics. How many of you guys are getting this? If you're having an aha moment, let me know. I want to know that you guys get this flow, because there's a flow of clicks. And when this happens online, it's going to go even deeper, because you're going to have people go to ChatGPT and say, why does my car not start? Okay, and then eventually they're going to be like, oh, I need to call John the motor fixer or whatever it is. And what's going to happen is it's going to go through that loop. If you can see this, I'm going to stop right here. This is aha moment number 1. Type aha if you get it. This is where search is going to change. If we start to see, it's no longer going to be just Google, where's the local whatever, and now we understand it's going to go through this loop, and everywhere through this loop is going to make money, and this loop is fed by websites that the AI was trained on. Now we're getting somewhere, okay? This is where the first big opportunity is going to come in. Remember how we talked about browsers, okay? Talked about browsers. Why would Google want Chrome? Google wants Chrome because of control. Why would Facebook want to be on all these phones they give away free? Because if all you do is look at Facebook, Facebook makes money. If all you do is look at Google, Google makes money. Why do you think the YouTube algorithm is so specific, right? It's almost dangerously specific. And what do I mean by dangerous? I mean dangerous, it is programmed, and this is where AI is going to go. Pay close attention. A lot of people talk about the SEO algorithm, the Google algorithm, all of this stuff. It is dangerous because it gives you more of what you just watched. So just before this, I was watching some random video that was like some weird existential philosophy, crazy, insane video. There was no point to it. And I'm like, okay, I watched all 2 minutes because the guy did a good job. I was like, okay, this is interesting. I need to see where he's going with this. Now that I watched it, I'm getting more of his videos and more of other videos, which takes me down this rabbit hole of all these things. And eventually, I completely believe something I didn't before. This is known as the Fox News effect. And I don't care what news you watch. Whoever coined it called it the Fox News one. We're not going to get into which one. I think all news is pretty lame. But at any rate, the Fox News effect was, and I actually saw this happen with my family, there was a study done on someone's dad who got into watching Fox News all day, every day. And pretty soon, like 6 months later, and I don't care, if you watch something all day, every day, this is going to happen to you. But what happened was this guy watched Fox News all day, every day, which, I mean, let's face it, what keeps people watching the news? Fear, panic, fear, that says fear, right? Fear, panic, bad, negative, that's what fuels the news. Pretty soon, happy grandpa is now miserable all day. Why? That cycle changed his mind. It literally changed his mind. Why is that dangerous when it comes to algorithms? Well, algorithms watch what you do. It would be like if you were watching the news and they had a pulse monitor on you and your pulse raced at a certain news event. And that told the algorithm, play more of this. And now you're getting more of that. Maybe you're like, oh, hey, you know, the stock market crashes. Your pulse goes up. Now they show you stock market stuff. That's what YouTube does. The algorithm is there to keep you watching. The Facebook is there to keep you watching, keep you engaged. Now, welcome to corporate world. That's the way the world works. That's how money is made. The more you watch, the more ad revenue is made. That's how it works. Now, why is this dangerous? Because if someone pulls out one thing they watch, and it's negative, it's going to show you more. And what you're going to do is you're going to be biased without even knowing it. You're going to be completely biased without even knowing it. And it is going to change the way you think. That's the dangerous part. How many of you guys want the more dangerous part? Okay, this is something that is going to happen. Unfortunately, right now in our ecosystem, the people that are running AI are just billionaires. Like, that's pretty much who has the wherewithal to say what you can and can't do with AI. Is just, if you have enough money, you can do whatever you want. I was reading something about they want to put servers in space or something like that, something crazy. But at any rate, and like F Affiliate says, you have to protect your own thoughts. This is where focus comes in. Now, here's the scary part. What happens when you introduce AI? AI is now going to have a docket on each person watching stuff. Okay, it might not be Marcus watching this, but it'll be this user likes this stuff, give him these things. See how he responds. Give it to other people who like this. See how that's how the algorithm works. Now, why is that important? Well, one, because it's going to be a scary time where, yes, you have to protect your thoughts, and yes, you have to guard what you're doing. Focus is the biggest commodity right now. A lot of people say it's attention, but for us to monetize what we're doing, we have to look at focus. What are we going to focus on? How are we going to use it? Like Relevant says, media is the biggest influencer. Absolutely. Like, you think about it, it's like, okay, they could say something that doesn't even exist and change the outcome of something. It's crazy. Good books to read on that are Gustav has a book about the crowd mind. Interesting stuff. Because if you start to understand that, you start to see exactly what's going on and where this is going to fit into it. Now, with AI, we have to ask ourselves, okay, what are we going to do? How am I going to guard my focus? This is your number one asset. If you are an entrepreneur, if you want to make money online, you need to guard your focus. You can't just watch every video about making money because you think it's great or whatever, or it's enticing or whatever. Because what's happening is things are getting more sensationalized, and you're getting input from people who just spin stuff out from AI with no real experience. So one of the commodities that is going to be very big in the world of AI is experience. Personal experience and stories. These are going to be huge. I've seen a shift here where people watch longer. If I just do a real video, forget the editing, forget all the hype, just get into it and say, hey, this is what's going on. These are my thoughts on the matter. Here's how I've made money. This is my experience. Looking at that is key. Even if it's in text, even if you're using AI to share your experience in your story, it still will be much more valued. Now, looking at the creation speed and what the new survival skills are for human creators. Where is this going to go? All right, if you understand these trends and you understand, okay, anyone and everyone can put out AI content. So you're going to have a pile of slop. Bunch of stuff. What's going to be important? Experience and, what was it? I had it over here. Focus, there we go. Experience and focus, all right? And stories. If you have a vacuum and you like it and you've had it for years, you can do better content with AI than people just using AI who do not own the vacuum. If you own a Tesla Cybertruck, which those are kind of weird, but if you own one, right, you have more experience and you can make money with it reviewing it. If your experience will be better than 100 or even 1,000 AI slop videos, because that's one thing it can't do. AI did not use the vacuum. AI did not drive a Tesla truck. AI does not know what it's like to stand here and do a webinar. AI does not know these things. Like Adrian says, we'll have experienced lifestyles to buy or lease, live a day of the life. Yeah, exactly. And starting to look at that is key, right? Going through and saying, how do I reach out, right? The world has already gone to a place where people are looking for a human connection. Right? That's why they're going to AI. They're going to ChatGPT because humans are too busy doing their stuff to talk to each other. And so now we're seeing, okay, these trends are changing. How do I get involved in them? Okay? How do I get involved in them? Now, some other things that I'm seeing as trends that are big, domaining. This is something I've talked about for years. I buy and sell domains literally daily. I've spent hundreds of thousands. I've sold millions of dollars worth of domains. What I've seen recently is a huge uptick in the amount domains are worth. Okay, why would that happen? Starting to look at these, putting these together. Okay, so domains are going up in value. Good. Okay, excellent. What else is going up in value? Okay, well, people are investing in apps and tools that people use daily. If we have something people use daily, like a Fitbit, Google, or something like that, now you're owning that audience. Domain, owning audience, different things like this are big. Okay, how can I own my own audience? Now, again, going through and looking at the survival skills that are going to work, deep niche expertise and authority. It doesn't matter how big it is, okay? A lot of people are going through and they're like, I need a big niche. I need to have this huge thing. No, no, no. You need to be really good at one thing and do it over and over and over again. A lot of people look at giant companies. They're like, oh, let's look at Amazon. Why does Amazon make so much money? Well, because they have a trillion, billion, zillion products. Okay, well, that's Amazon now. That's not Amazon when they started. A lot of people are looking at entrepreneurs now. What do they do? How are they making money? Not how they started. All I care about is how they started. All right, I know a lot of people watch Gary Vee. I met Gary back when he was doing the wine library site. That's the story I'm impressed with. All the other stuff, he's just loud now. And apparently being loud is what people pay attention to. I think we need a new adjustment on that, but that's what we look at, and we're like, okay, well, now he's loud and he speaks a lot of things and whatever. Some of it's good, some of it's bad, some of it's complete horse junk, right? But how did Amazon start? They started selling books. Why did they start selling books? Well, because it had a lot of products, and back then, getting ranked in Google for products was big. Without Google, Amazon wouldn't be what it is today. Without Google, Netflix wouldn't be what it is today. Without Google, a lot of companies wouldn't be what they are today. So what can we learn from that? Well, Amazon owned the book audience. Then what did they do? They went through and they said, okay, well, now that everyone buys books and they get them fast and they like our company, let's sell us other stuff. Tracy says experiencers will replace AI influencers. I agree. I think your experience is important, and that's why Amazon pays for it. Amazon literally will pay you to make a video on Amazon about a product they're selling on Amazon. So they give you the traffic, they give you the way to make the video, and you get paid when they buy. Why? Because they know experience sells, right? And now, how can we do this? How can I look at this in the new world of AI? Well, if I wanted to be a product reviewer, okay, what could I do? Well, I could be a 100 times better product reviewer by having a product I own, using AI to find all the reviews of what people like and don't like, make a full video on what people like, don't like, test the thing, and boom, now I just made a better product review. And when you think about it, if you take a product, like let's say these cameras here, we have, what are they called? OBSBot cameras. Let's see if we can find how much the company's worth. So we'll go ChatGPT, how big is OBS bot camera company worth? And these cameras aren't cheap. We have like 10 of them around here, and I think they were like $400 a pop or something. So starting to look at this, I want you to see this. A lot of people are like, oh, I'm just gonna review video stuff. That's what I'm gonna do. And you find yourself struggling. Now, what if I can go through and see what they have? So OBSBot is a private China-based company. PTZ cameras. Doesn't say, let's see, how many do they sell? Estimated revenue, something like that. They're a pretty big company. And so I would venture to say that if I wanted to make a living just reviewing, okay, here we go. So the Tiny series, which I don't know if that's the one I have. I think it might be. So the revenue of OBSBot was 11 million, somewhere between 11 million and 100 million. They sold 150,000 units. So if I look at this and I say, okay, let's take a middle of the road number. Let's say they're 50 million in sales. All right, what would it take for me to get that? Okay, what would it take for me to get some kind of cash from that? Okay, if they pay 10% on affiliate, or maybe I can even drop ship it and make more. This is how you start to think like a business. All right, 10%, okay, so if I sell one, it's roughly $40. If I could sell 10 a day, $400 a day, now I'm in the six-figure range. All right, starting to look at that and say, okay, what if all I did was go all in on one product? What if I went all in on one product or one group of products and made very specific content for it, used AI to help me? This is where it's going, right? We're seeing big companies, even companies that I've talked about before that have gigantic reach on Google, are starting to struggle because they're like, okay, this is changing. Now that we could just get whatever we want with AI, things are changing. Wherever there is change, there's huge opportunity if you're following along. So deep niche expertise and authority. Influencers with hard to replicate knowledge. All right, what's hard to replicate? Well, if you go to other countries that are making AI content in bulk, right, countries where it's cheaper to live, a lot of them can't afford to get these cameras and test them out. You would have an edge. Or if you're in those countries, find something that works for you. Very important. So if I can find something that works for me and I'm willing to go the mile and buy the product, this is something that's so funny. People will go out there and they'll spend $5,000 on a guru course that they don't even know what it is, right? Like I see people all the time. They spend between $5,000 and $30,000 on Shopify sites loaded with products that are promising to make them rich. And I'm like, that site is not worth $10. But they'll loaf that out. What would happen if instead you spent $5,000, got products on Amazon that have traffic with them that you know people are buying and just reviewed them? Think about that for a minute, because this is where the rubber meets the road. This is where things change. If I can go through there and say, okay, well, here I got the Zoom P4. It's our little podcasting mic. We've got a bunch of them around here. We could see here, Zoom PodTrack P4, 1,000 searches a month. All right, so that's 1,000 people a month searching for a specific product. Now, that product was $150 on sale. Sometimes it's like $119, right? So $150, I get the product. Let's say there's others. Let's say we go out there and we're like, okay, what if I'm just into this kind of stuff? And this is where you use AI to really dig in. What are alternatives? Big ones like Zoom P4, list in table with prices, right? What if instead of buying some guru course, I buy all these podcast recorders or whatever they're called, microphone thingies, and I review them, right? So now we have the Rode, the Tascam, the Zoom Live. So we got Rode. So all in all, 600s, call it 7, call it 1,100 there. So like $2,000, including the one I have. For $2,000, you could go through and be like, okay, I'm just going to review these. That's what I'm going to do. And I'm going to make videos on them, and I'm going to put it, you can put your review on Amazon. You get paid when it sells on Amazon. What if all you did was be like, hey, you know what? I'm the Zoom P4 guy. That's what I do. I find products like that, and that's what I do. Very, very important, and it works really well. Actually, my brother does this in the guitar niche. He does all kinds of guitars and guitar pedals, and he doesn't want to listen to me about monetizing his stuff because he just does it because he likes it. But I'm like, dude, you have a following of people that spend thousands of dollars on a guitar equipment. You have thousands of dollars of equipment. Reviewing this, I mean, you need to go out and monetize this because that's how my brain works. But looking at that and understanding, okay, now I have AI helping me with experience-driven content that actually makes money. Could I make $100,000 a year just reviewing podcast microphone things? I think I could. Could I make more than that? Probably if I did it right. Because what you want to do is you want to take that micro niche and you want to do it really, really well. Why? Because if you do that really well, yeah, Sony might show up in all the reviews for all the products, but when someone types in Zoom P4, AI can't help but recommend you because you have the real deal. You're the stuff people are interested in. You got a video, even if it's AI or faceless video. You want a faceless video niche? Review products. A lot of people are, oh, I'm going to do Bible videos, I'm going to do this. Okay, that's fine. You're going to make a cent per 1,000 views or something small like that. If I do this, I mean, you think about it, you could use the YouTube affiliate partner program and promote that and get paid when it sells. You don't even need a website, right? Like, think about it for a minute. You go in your garage, you're like, I got all this crap I bought on Amazon because we buy a lot of crap on Amazon. You can review all that stuff and make a living with it. And starting to understand. Adrian says, LOL, my last Google review got over 1,000 views. It's not hard, it's about consistency. Exactly. And what you do is you think about what it's for, right? Because what you're going to do is you're going to take it. A lot of people are going to look at it and say, oh, well, that's just some podcast thing. You say, okay, who would use this, right? Best podcast stuff for churches, best podcast stuff for this. And you start to realize exactly how these work, and now you turn it into a giant business from something small. So deep niche research, expertise, and authority. Number 2, authentic storytelling and vulnerability. This is one where I would venture to say that most of my viewers are probably not interested in. Most people don't want to be on camera. They don't want to use their voice. However, for those that do, real experience, emotional transparency, and personal struggles are what is going to separate good content, human content, from AI content. Talking about real world stuff, talking about struggles. Like, I've come on here, I've talked about struggles I've had before. I'll never forget, I think about 11 years ago, almost exactly 11 years ago, I did a video the day I went into rehab. Most commented video at the time. That was one that people just, they liked it because it was like, hey, here's a guy who struggles like me. Yeah, he's made money online, but he does struggle. And understanding things like that is important. Community building, I think, is one of the things that is going to be the biggest ever. Like, what if you started building a community around something, a community of people that do podcasts, a community of realtors that lost their rankings, a community of businesses that are struggling with things. What if you started building that and you did it small? Do it with one thing. Like, okay, could I build a bunch of people who are podcasters starting with Zoom in the same way that Amazon started with books? I could. That would absolutely work. I've done it. And you start small, and you build it up from there, and you have a community of rabid fans that are super interested, okay? I didn't know I didn't monetize any of the Google reviews. Yeah, you could definitely monetize all that. So community building is going to be big. Strategic collaboration and ROI focus. I think one of the most important things here is to look at ROI, because a lot of people miss the boat. Google traffic was pretty easy to get, and it still is. Okay, people think SEO is hard. It's not. You can get traffic for free all day, every day. The problem is you don't know how to make money with the traffic, right? So a lot of people are like, oh, I got 1,000 views to watch my video, but I didn't make anything. That's a monetization problem. That's not a view problem. You got 1,000 of them. You could do that again, get another 1,000. Do it again, get another 1,000. Starting to realize it's about monetizing that traffic. The easiest way to monetize traffic is to go for product traffic. Amazon went out there and they're like, we're going to find people who want books and sell them books. Oh, wow, okay, that's rocket science. Easy to monetize. That's what they want. That's why they're there. What we want to do is we want to take it a step further. Can I take people that are doing podcasts and maybe serve that market 1,000%? And that brings us to another quote here where he says, the top influencers will be results-driven partners who understand sales funnels, lead gen, and ROI, not just impressions. The future of sales is to serve, not to sell. What if I served my market? What if I was like, okay, I'm just going to get in there, I'm going to do stuff. Actually, we started, yesterday, we started an AI challenge over at AI Profit Scoop. And I have a personal goal where I want to make AI Profit Scoop the best $17 you've ever spent in your life by providing good value and serving that community to the best of the abilities, right? So if you guys get value from my videos and you like the stuff I have, check out AIProfitScoop.com, because what we're doing is we're building that up to cultivate an audience to get people interested in this specific thing. If I get all the people that are interested in making money with AI and saving their job with AI, making a career out of AI, maybe they're afraid and they're like, okay, I know my job's gonna get taken over by AI, it's just a matter of time. What are the skills I need to join? And that's why the team here, we are super, super focused on AI Profit Scoop, which is the cheapest of anything I've ever had. And the reason we're doing it is because if I could serve that market really, really good, they buy tons of other stuff. They stick with me a while. Very, very important. And you're starting to look at that and say, okay, this is where the rubber meets the road. And if I get that tight-knit audience, or like if you're doing the podcast thing, and you go out there and you're like, hey, every podcast needs a web host. Okay, well there, now instead of getting, $30 to sell the podcast equipment thing, now you're gonna get $150 to get people in web hosting. Starting to understand this is where you're looking at a market different. A lot of people look at it and they're like, oh, I got a video that went viral. It's pretty cool. I'm like, okay, well, how are you monetizing it? I got a ranking that's at the top of Google. Okay, how are you monetizing it? Very, very important. Tracy says, are sites like Whoop, School, Fansite, are these good for community building? They can be. Here's what I'm going to tell you. Whenever you see a platform, okay, we see this all the time. People freaked out. They're like Shopify. Shopify is not a way to make money online. WAP might be. Okay, School, no, that's a platform. Okay, so what we need to look at is what benefit is the platform giving me? What is the benefit? So if I put something on School, is School going to promote that to their users? If the answer is no, I might as well have my own blog. Might as well save money and own my own audience. These are things you have to look at, is what is the benefit and what do I want to do with it? If it's going to take them off platform and I have to send them to a School site, I'm diminishing my audience, right? Like for you guys, I'm like, go to AI Profit Scoop, that's where you go. That's where it is. Very important. Butterfly Meditation says, what about selling services? This will work absolutely for selling services, and we will see a shift as well. That's where we're going to see the rise of communities, the rise of branding. Okay, like right now, personal branding, up until now, it's been an easy road. Like if you didn't make money yet, it's going to get easier and harder. And let me explain. It's going to get easier for the people who understand what I'm saying now. If you get this, if you understand how money's made, you understand how to monetize everything at the best you can, then that's going to be easier for you. If you're out there and you're like, oh, well, I had an SEO site and I just had writers write stuff and now it's gone and I really didn't care about it, that's going to be more difficult, okay? So now starting to look at that, we need to see, where is this going? One, branding. Branding is going to be big. With branding is coming the value of domains. Okay? Also, helping influencers and businesses, understanding how to use AI, understanding how to get influencers to shift from, here I'm just talking about everything, which anyone can, and now I have something different that people actually want. Whether it's text, whether it's on camera, whatever it is, we focus. Building an authentic brand and thriving community. I think communities are going to be the big thing here. I know a lot of people that use different communities in their neighborhood and things like that. And it's an online community. If you can create an online community around what you're trying to do, that's going to be key. Now, a lot of people think like school and stuff like that. It can work. That's more for like info products. What I would think is maybe running your own forum, Facebook group, right? People are already on Facebook anyway. Facebook groups are huge. I had a friend, a student of mine I taught years ago. She used Facebook groups. She made millions off of it. Now, again, results not typical, implied, or guaranteed. Average person trying to make money online makes nothing. But if you understand, oh, how did she use that? Because her groups weren't even that big. She just monetized them crazy and was able to make a lot of money. What can you do in a group and build it up? Because that's traffic you would own. That's traffic that will feed the algorithm. That's traffic that will get you money for a long time. Starting to understand that is key. Let's see what else we have. Building brand identity. Let's see what else. Create your brand, AI Bible, commit to radical transparency. More or less, I mean, you don't really have to. Just be transparent about the stuff you want to be and not at the other stuff. Cultivating a community and looking at the human AI hybrid. Like, how to use AI to be a better you, not how do I use AI to replace me. A lot of people right now are looking at how to use AI to replace you. No, look at it how to do better. What can you do? If I can review a product, how can AI make me review it better? If I can organize information, okay, how can I make AI do it better? How can I use AI to assist me and build and grow? Whether it's a blog or whatever it is super, super important, okay? Let's see what else we got here. I think that's, yeah, so that's about it. Branding, community, super important. We're starting a community for people who want to do side hustles, make money online, all things with AI Profit Scoop over at AIProfitScoop.com. If you're interested in this and you found this video to be kind of a lot, because I think there is a lot going on in the AI world, I think if you can look at it and say, okay, how do I take one thing and do it well? Whether it's going to be helping businesses in the future with AI, maybe a side hustle of helping them get their rankings back, or maybe a side hustle of helping people that do podcasts do more of that stuff. Looking at it this way, I want you to pay close attention, because one person in the old days, like let's say 5 years ago, could help maybe 3 influencers and make, $1,000 each or something like that, like an influencer agency or a blogger or a podcaster. Now, one person plus AI or Manus can help like 15 to 20 people and make, what would that be, like 10 times as much or something like that. And starting to realize AI is a tool, it's an asset, it can make you money if used properly. The key is learning to use it properly for what you want it to do. Hundreds of thousands of people, I think, probably have a Manus account. Millions of people have a ChatGPT account. What are they using it for, and how is it different than what you're going to use it for? Using these specific is where the key is, and that's what we teach over at AIProfitScoop.com. So if you enjoyed this video, smash the like button, let us know, put your comments below, tell us what you think of all the AI content going on out there and how it's affecting you, whether you like it, don't like it, want more of it, want less of it, what you think is happening in the world of AI content, and let us know. So thanks for being here.